These are genuinely some of my favorite videos to film because we get to open lots of packages from Amazon. And I'm really excited to show you guys everything that I got. This is literally so much. I also picked up some books in the bookstore, and a book shopping vlog is coming. I filmed the first half and the second half is being filmed today. But I already picked up the books. I'm not gonna show you because they'll be in the next video on Saturday. So make sure you guys subscribe because there's new videos every single day on, or not every day, 3 days a week, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So yeah, make sure you guys come back on Saturday if you guys want to see like more books, but like a book shopping little video. We are going to go in order of like the packages. We're gonna start with the little, what are these called? Bags? I don't know what these are called. And the first book that I got is this book called Somebody's Wife, and it's by Robbie Renee. Now you guys know I'm constantly picking up books by like Black authors, by diverse like authors, just different types of reads that you probably don't see on like BookTok or TikTok. I am literally like in the trenches, like looking for new books that like people haven't talked about, because I read between like 16 to 20 books a month, so I like to read books that are like new and fresh. And this book on the back says, Gemma had me at hello, but she was somebody's wife. Dr. Ezekiel Green is ready to make a fresh start in a new city after the divorce from his high school sweetheart. What was supposed to be a professional business dinner with a future colleague quickly transformed into a love at first sight encounter. Or so he thought. Dr. Gemma Holliday was spirited, brilliant, beautiful, and another man's wife. Doesn't he know I'm somebody's wife? Does he care? Do I care? Dr. Gemma Holliday had the perfect life, love, marriage, and family in the public's eye, but behind closed doors, betrayal and mundane monotony were suffocating. A marriage of situational necessity, what was supposed to be a pleasurable evening with her sorority sisters, abruptly transitioned to the one-night stand of her dreams, or so she thought. What's the worst that could happen? So good. I can't wait to read this one. The next little bag is another blue one. It's the last blue one, and then we have one more bag before we get to the boxes. And this one has the one by John Mars. It says now major motion picture, and this is not a sticker. It is like on there for good. I only really read like thrillers and romances if you're new here, so like that's pretty much what you're gonna get. And this is a thriller. It says, how far would you go to find the one? A simple DNA test is all it takes, just a quick mouth swab, and sooner you'll be matched with your perfect partner, the one you're genetically made for. That's the promise made by Match Your DNA. A decade ago, the company announced that they had found the gene that pairs each of us with our soulmate. Since then, millions of people around the world have been matched, but the discovery has its downsides. Test results have led to the breakup of countless relationships and upended the traditional ideas of dating, romance, and love. Now, 5 very different people have received the notification that they've been matched. They're each about to meet their one true love, but happily ever after isn't guaranteed for everyone, because even soulmates have secrets, and some are more shocking than others. I've heard rave reviews about this book. And in the last package, this is actually a pretty big one. There are 2 books in this one. And the book on top is Kiss Her Once for Me by Allison Cochran. I've actually been wanting to buy more Christmas books or like holiday books, because like the season is coming. Like we're already in fall, like this is literally around the corner. And this says it's the best time of year. 1 year ago, recent Portland transplant Ellie Oliver had her dream job in animation and a Christmas Eve bookstore meet cute with a woman she fell in love with over the course of a single night. But after a betrayal the next morning and the loss of her job soon after, she finds herself adrift, alone, and desperate for money. Since finding work at a local coffee shop, she's just getting through the days until Andrew, the shop's landlord, proposes a shocking, drunken plan. Marriage of convenience that will give him his recent inheritance and alleviate Ellie's financial woes and isolation. They decide to spend the holidays together at his family's cabin to keep up the ruse. But when Adam introduces his new fiance to his sister, Ellie is shocked to discover that his sister is Jack, the mysterious woman she fell for last Christmas Eve. Now, over one very festive week, Ellie must choose between the safety of a fake relationship and the risk of something real. And then I also picked up Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria and Other Conversations About Race by Beverly Daniel Tatum, who has a PhD. I've been wanting to get back into like reading self-help books, but again, I think it does take a level of like, I don't know, brain power, and sometimes I just want to like read for fun. So I did pick this up to add into some of the books I want to read. I really never really read self-help books, but I want to like start reading more for like learning. So I added that. This next box is like one of the smaller ones, and I actually cannot tell you guys how many box cutters I have purchased that literally go missing. So I'm using this pair of scissors. It's like a perforated like scissor. I don't really know if it's gonna like work to get it open. I probably should have cut a little bit more, but I don't ever think things through. So in this box we have 3 books. And there's a couple Christmas books and a thriller. So the first Christmas book is You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Toni Shiloh. I've been wanting to find more like Christmas books by Black authors, and this says it's the most wonderful time of year for everyone except Star Lewis. As if going home for the holidays, jobless and single, wasn't bad enough, she's dragged into a holiday season full of activities leading up to her sister's uber romantic Christmas Eve wedding to Star's ex-boyfriend. But when her brother's best friend Waylon Emerson attends their family Thanksgiving, she starts to wonder if maybe coming home for Christmas isn't so bad after all. As Star finds the perfect distraction in helping Waylon make over his late mother's Christmas shop, the most wonderful time of year works its magic and the spark between them grows. But with the holidays fast approaching, Star must decide what she wants out of life after the gifts are unwrapped and the ornaments are put away, to go back to New York City or to open her heart to a love that will last beyond Christmas Day. Oh, this looks so cute. I also got this thriller. It's called No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. And this is a book I've seen all over Book Talk, and I feel like there are not enough like, I don't know, Black authors that are like writing thrillers that people talk about. So I was like, you know what, I need to read this. It says Sydney Green is a Brooklyn born and raised, but her beloved neighborhood seems to change every single time she blinks. Condos are sprouting up like weeds, for sale signs are popping up overnight, and the neighbors she's known all her life are disappearing. To hold on to her community's past and present, Sydney channels her frustration into a walking tour and finds an unlikely and unwanted assistant in one of the new arrivals to the block, her neighbor Theo. But Sydney and Theo's deep dive into history quickly becomes a dizzying descent into paranoia and fear. Their neighbors may not have moved to the suburbs after all, and the push to revitalize the community may be more deadly than advertised. When does coincidence become conspiracy? Where do people go when gentrification pushes them out? Can Sydney and Theo trust each other or themselves long enough to find out before they too disappear? I've heard this is so good. And then the last book that I got, this isn't a Christmas book. It's called One True Loves by Elise Bryant. You guys know I have a love for Elise Bryant's books. She writes the happiest, fluffiest, easiest, like fun romances. So whenever I need like a palate cleanser, she's my go-to. On the back it says, Lenore Bennett has always been a force, a star assistant and style icon at her high school. She's never been too worried about her future, but now that graduation is here, she's a little less sure. Her parents always remind her that Black kids don't have the luxury of finding it out as they go. They have to be 110% prepared, but it's a lot of pressure to be her ancestors' wildest dreams when Lenore is not even sure what her dreams are yet. When her family embarks on a post-graduation Mediterranean cruise, her friend Tessa is sure Lenore's in for a whirlwind romance. Lenore knows that doesn't happen to girls like her though, and certainly not with the irritating golden boys like Alex Lee. But as they get to know each other during the picturesque stops across Europe, Alex may be able to help Lenore find something else she's been looking for, even if she doesn't want to admit it to herself. Love. How cute. Her books are like always super happy and fluffy. This is a bigger box, and I'm gonna try to open it, but I should have grabbed the scissors probably because this is heavy. There are so many books in here. Oh my gosh, what in the world? Okay, so we have 4 books on top. Oh my gosh. And then we have 4 books kind of on the bottom. So the first book that I got is The Invisible Man, and I did not know that this was a used book, so I don't know how I feel about this, because it is so like written in, and like I just don't know the vibes. But I'm trying to join a book club, and this is the book that I'm supposed to read. It was first published in 1952, and it says Invisible Man is one of the most rare novels that have changed the shape of American literature. Honestly, I don't want to get into it because I'm not really excited to read it, but I was invited to this book club, and this is the first book that or not the first book, but it's one of the books that they're reading this year, and it's the first time I'm going. So comment below if you guys have read this and you actually like it, because this is not my normal like vibe. I normally read romance thrillers and like happy fluffy books, and that's pretty much it. And I'll add in a sprinkle of like self-help, like 2 or 3 books a year, and that's it. So let me know if you guys think that this is a good book. It's called Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Then I got This Winter, and it's a Heartstopper novella by Alice Oseman, and I had to get this because I love Heartstopper so much. This is a really tiny book. On the inside it says, it can be a hard time of year. It's another Christmas for the Spring family, which means a lot of relatives, a lot of food, a lot of chaos, and a lot of chances for people to say or do the wrong things. Tori Spring knows her brother Charlie is overwhelmed by it all. She wants to help, but how? Charlie isn't certain he can stay in his own house as things get into full swing. His boyfriend Nick's house is an obvious refuge, but he also is unsure about ruining Nick's Christmas with his own concerns. Sometimes the only path to comfort and joy is through honesty, sharing, and banding together to find the warmth in winter. I'm really excited for this because you guys know I love the whole Heartstopper series. I also picked up In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. This is the same author who wrote Fourth Wing, but she also writes like romances. And it says, is it a second chance if you never had a first? When Izzy Astor gets on a plane to go home, she isn't expecting much. It's the usual holiday travel experience, busy, crowded, and stressful. Then she spots her seatmate, who is anything but ordinary. Nate Phelan? I don't know. Sports dark hair, blue eyes, and a deliciously rugged charm that Izzy can't resist. Their connection is undeniable. Izzy never believed in destiny before, but she does now. Just 90 seconds after takeoff, their plane goes down in the Missouri River. Their lives change, they change. Nate goes on to a career in the military while Izzy finds her way into politics. Despite a few chance encounters over the years, the timing never feels right. Then comes a high-stakes reunion in Afghanistan where Nate is tasked with protecting Izzy's life. He'll do anything to keep her safe and everything to win her heart. I've never read anything by this author, but I have heard lots of good things about her writing, so I'm excited to read this one. Now, this book is all over Black Book Talk. Like, literally everyone is talking about it, and it's called The Art of Scandal by Regina Black. And it says, on the night of her husband Matt's 40th birthday, Rachel Abbott receives a sexy, explicit text from him that she quickly realizes was meant for another woman. Divorce is inevitable, and Rachel is determined not to leave her 13-year marriage empty-handed. Meanwhile, Matt, a rising star mayor with his eye on the White House, can't afford a messy split in the middle of re-election campaign. They strike a deal. Rachel gets $1 million and their lavish house in the wealthy DC suburbs of Oasis Springs, as long as she keeps playing the ideal Black trophy wife until the election. Then Rachel meets Nathan, a very handsome, very lost 26-year-old artist, and their connection makes Rachel forget about being the perfect politician's wife. As Rachel reawakens Nathan's long, dormant artistic aspirations, their attraction becomes impossible to resist. But secrets are hard to keep in a town like Oasis Springs, and Nathan has a few of his own. With the risk of scandal looming and their hearts on the line, they'll have to decide whether the possibility of losing everything is worth taking a chance on love. Oh my god, this looks so good. Do you ever see a book that gets on your TBR and you're like, I want to push everything off my TBR and read this instead? That's literally me. I also picked up The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayless. I'm telling you, I've been in a Christmas mood. Not to read Christmas books, but to get Christmas books to get ready for Christmas, if that makes sense. And this says, 'tis the season for finding romance in this hilarious, uplifting holiday read. When it comes to relationships, 34-year-old Kate is ready to say bah humbug. The sleepy town of Blexford, England isn't exactly brimming with prospects. And anyway, Kate's found fulfillment in her career as a designer and in her delicious side job baking for her old friend Matt's neighborhood cafe. But then her best friend signs her up for a dating agency that promises to help singles find love before the holidays. 23 days until Christmas, 12 dates with 12 different men. The odds must finally be in her favor, right? Yet, with each due date more disastrous than the one before, and the whole town keeping tabs on her misadventures, Kate must remind herself that sometimes love, like mistletoe, shows up where it's least expected, and maybe, just maybe, it's been right within her reach all along. That looks so cute. I love a fluffy, easy read for Christmas. I also got Old Enough by Haley Chokeresson. I don't even remember why I picked this up. I think someone probably reviewed it and I was like, oh, that looks good. It's a debut novel, and it says Savannah Henry is almost the person she wants to be, or at least she's getting closer. It's the second semester of sophomore year. She's finally come out as bisexual, is making friends with other queers in her dorm, and has just about recovered from her disastrous first queer situationship. She is casually optimistic that her life is about to begin, but then she learns that Izzy, her best friend from college, has gotten engaged. Savannah faces a crisis of confidence. Things with Izzy haven't been the same since what happened between Sav and Izzy's brother when Sav was 16. Now with the wedding around the corner, Sav is forced to reckon with trauma she thought she could put behind her. On top of it all, Sav can't stop thinking about Wes from her gender studies class. Sweet, funny Wes with their long eyelashes and green backpack. There's something different here with Wes and with her new friends. It feels terrifyingly like they might truly see her. This looks really good. Oh my God, cute. And then I also got, there are 2 more books in the stack. I picked up Appetite for Innocence by Lucinda Berry. This is supposed to be a very, very, very scary thriller. It says, be careful what you post online. Your next check-in might lead him right to you. A serial R word is kidnapping teenage girls, but he's not interested in just any teenage girl, only virgins. He hunts them by following their status updates and checking in on social media and check-ins on social media. Once he captures them, they're locked away in his soundproof basement until they're groomed and ready. He throws them away like pieces of trash after he's stolen their innocence. Nobody escapes alive until Ella. Ella risks it all to escape, setting herself and the other girls free, but only Sarah, the girl who's been captive the longest, gets out with her. The girls are hospitalized and surrounded by FBI agents who will stop at nothing to find the man responsible. Ella and Sarah are the key to their investigation, but Sarah's hiding something, and it isn't long before Ella discovers her nightmare is far from over. And the last book in this little stack is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. And it says 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is killed. The 2 crimes are somehow linked and spark a mystery with 3 suspects, 2 murders and 1 victim. Edith might have been tricked into a nursing home by her estranged daughter, Cleo, but at 80 years young, she's planning her escape. Her only friend is a young woman called Patience, an employee at the home who forms a real bond with Edith. But Patience is lying about almost everything, and after an approach by a mysterious stranger, Cleo is forced back into Edith's life, whether she likes it or not. With every reason to distrust one another, the women are confronted with a mystery they might not want to solve, but they can put all the pieces together. But if they can put all the pieces together, I literally can't talk today, they might find out what happened to the baby who disappeared, the mother who lost her, and the connections that bind them all. This looks really good. I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by this author and really loved it, so I had to pick this one up. Now I'm gonna open this big box because, believe it or not, it actually has the least amount of books. There's still one more like really big box, but this one doesn't have as many because I actually got a new tripod today, which is what you guys are sitting on, and it came in this box. So this box only has 2 books in it, and the 2 books are, the first one is Exit, Pursued by a Bear by E.K. Johnston, and it says, she won't be anyone's cautionary tale. Is this fantasy? Because I never read fantasy. I don't think so. Hermione Winters is captain of her cheerleading team, and in tiny Palermo Heights, the cheerleaders don't cheer for the sports teams, they are the sports teams. This year's summer training camp is is it Hermione? Hermione's last, and she knows this season could make her a legend, but during a camp party, someone slips something in her drink and it all goes black. In every class, there's a star cheerleader and a pregnant girl. They're never supposed to be the same person. As Hermione struggles to regain the control she's always had, she faces the wrenching decision of how to move on. The assault wasn't the beginning of her story, and she's not going to let it be the end. And this is a book that I literally don't even know how I saw this, but I probably heard it on a review somewhere and was like, this looks good. I also got Relationship Goals by Christina C. Jones. I love Christina C. Jones' writing, like absolutely love her writing. And on the back it says, everyone is a stranger at some point, right? Pulled by an explicable, undeniable thread of something, Nick and Noah find themselves keen on becoming more. Hashtags and flights and late night text sessions lead to a connection neither has experienced or expected. Beyond the shiny veneer of social media, further than the shallow depths of a good selfie, down to the real, for the real stuff that relationships are made of, can Nick and Noah actually reach their prematurely awarded goal? This looks so cute, and her curly hair on the front is like so, I don't know, I love it. Also, the words are really big on the inside, and they just like look super easy to read, so now I like want to read this right away. Like literally, they're so big. And in this last box, which is a pretty big box, there are more books. I can literally feel how heavy this is. This is wild. Whew. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Books on books on books. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god, there's so many in here. 6, is that 7 books, I think? I just keep pulling them out, like left and right. Okay, that's 6 books. The first book that I got is Terms of Inheritance by, I don't know the author. I can't even say it. Adorable Huckley. What comes first in this business? Dirty, freedom, or love? Business in the northeastern region is run by 2 families, the Fernandezes and the Fergusons. Tucked away in the secluded, opulent city of Seaside, Rhode Island, you'd never guess to find the home of one of the wealthiest alliances in the country, or their pawn, Clementine. Clementine Ferguson is used to being used by her family, by her husband, and by the companions that drive them, or by the companies that drive them. Sold and sealed away long before she had a choice, Clem had to come to accept the fact that she no longer means anything to anyone. No one except the man who suddenly dies and leaves her to his ... grandson? And the grandson, his name is Oxka? Is that it? I literally am doing such a bad job pronouncing people's names in this video. Of all the responsibilities he has taken on, having a wife is proving to be the most delicate of them all. Worse, the longer he plays the role of dutiful husband, the more serious he begins to take it. But is his duty making it hard for him to discern the truth? Are these feelings that he's growing for his new wife real, or just another one of his responsibilities? Forced to marry under the vindictive pretenses of an evil dead man, they must figure out how to maneuver a life that neither of them chose but are both growing to like. But no matter how much they like it, is it real? Is it a life that's built to last? The cover of this is so pretty. I had to get it. And I've heard great things about that book as well. I also got Consider Me. This is a book that I've heard so many people talk about. I'm pretty sure it's a hockey romance, and it's by Becca Mack. On the back it says, Carter Beckett is the NHL's resident bad boy, top player both on the ice and in the bedroom, and quite possibly the sexiest man to ever grace my field of vision. But worst of all, he knows it. He's arrogant, self-centered, and the man doesn't seem to know what a filter is, let alone how to use one. He's had everything served to him on a silver platter, including endless strings of women, and apparently I'm up next. His only problem, I have no intention of falling for his charm. I have the solution to all my sexual frustrations in a drawer at home, and it's far less complicated than Carter Beckett. Sure, he may be pretty, but he's also a walking, talking reminder for you to wrap it up before you tap it. But then I start letting my guard down, and he starts showing me pieces of himself I had no intention of seeing. The bricks surrounding me may be tumbling down one by one, but I'm not sold yet, which means for the first time in my life, Carter's the one begging for my time, my trust, for a single chance for me to just consider him. This looks good. Also, I got a book by Talia Hibbert. It's called Guarding Temptation, and this is the author who wrote, I think, Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl, I think, or yeah, I think that was the book. I'm pretty sure, if I think off the top of my head. Is that the book? Or maybe it's a different one. I don't know. Anyway, this is a very well-known author, and it says, 2 former best friends, 1 cramped apartment, 3 little rules. Nina Chapman's most embarrassing moment, finally dragging James Foster into bed. The stern, steady mechanic made her see stars, then called her a mistake and disappeared, leaving the tatters of their friendship in his wake. But when Nina's work as an investigative journalist brings death threats to her door, James marches back into her life, armed with irrational demands. He doesn't care how long it's been or how distant they've become. She must move into his flat. She must sleep in his bed, and she cannot leave his side, not for a second. What could possibly go wrong? And then I also picked up Business Casual by Daniel Allen. I read Continuum by Daniel Allen and fell in love with the author's writing, like absolutely in love. I read it so fast, and on the back it doesn't really say very much. It just says it was supposed to be one night only. It ended up being the best night of my life, and everything that happened after that was against company policy. This author has a ton of dialogue, so like if you like books with dialogue, you'll like her books. I also picked up St. Avenue by Sheree Lewis. I've been trying to pick up more books by Black authors that I feel like I haven't heard a lot of people talk about because I want to read them and like share them with you. This is a thick one, but the words are really, really spread out, and it also looks like it's super easy to read. So I feel like I'll get through this one like really fast, but on the back it says, what happens when 2 souls bind together after leaving grueling chapters in their lives. A fire is set ablaze when Yasmin enters the St. Hill household. She's offered an opportunity that will greatly benefit her, but soon realizes that the work may be too strenuous. Matters are much worse when a larger-than-life personality enters her existence. He's everything that Yasmin imagined, but knows he's no good for her. However, his presence is way too commanding for her to ignore, and she soon finds herself confined in his web of chaos. Like literally, look how like just big these words are. I can't even like explain how like there's a lot of dialogue, and it's very bendable. It's like the perfect type of book. And then I also picked up To Be Loved by Kayla Shawn, and this is the author who I'm actually reading right now, and I'm loving her writing. So I immediately was like, you know what, I'm picking up another book of hers. That's when you know that the writing's good. I'm reading In This Moment, which I think is the first book. Maybe this is the second, or maybe this is a standalone. Make sure to check to make sure this isn't like the second book in a series. But on the back it says, to be loved, a woman scorned by life who keeps everything she knows at arm's length, a man trying to overcome the mistakes of his past, a professional relationship that turns very personal, uncomfortable truths and unresolved traumas threaten this blossoming relationship, and despite it all, this unlikely pair somehow finds the courage to show one another what it truly means to be loved. I hope you guys liked seeing the 23 books that I picked up. These all look so good, and I can't wait to read them, so be sure to subscribe if you guys want to see more videos like this with lots of hauls and lots of book chats, because again, I upload videos 3 times a week. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys!